Prime Minister Narendra Modi hails historic passage of the agrarian reforms bills in Lok Sabha, says these bills to liberate farmers from middlemen and other bottlenecks. The Prime Minister also exalts these bills will truly empower the nation's farmers. Prime Minister Modi dedicates Kosi Mega Bridge to the nation along with 12 rail projects in Bihar through video conference today. Prime Minister says the 3,000 crore rupees project will boost Make in India and advancement of Indian railways. Fifth day of monsoon session of Parliament sees transaction of crucial legislative business. Four important bills, including the Indian Medicine Central Council Amendment Bill, Homeopathy Central Council Amendment Bill, Salaries and Allowances of Ministers Amendment Bill, and Salary Allowances and Pensions of Members of Parliament Bill passed by Rajya Sabha. Proceedings in Lok Sabha sees repeated adjournments. India's fight against COVID-19 continues. Over 87,000 patients recovered in the last 24 hours. Upward trajectory of recovery rate continues, touches 78.86%, while the fatality rate continues its downward trend at 1.62%. Global corona cases surged to more than 3.03 crore with 9.5 lakh fatalities. India's Rohan Bopanna and Canadian Denis Shapovalov enter into the men's doubles quarterfinals by defeating the Colombian doubles duo Juan Sebastian Cabal and Robert Farah at Rome Masters 2020. Good afternoon, welcome to the newscast. I'm Amritpal Singh. Our top story: Prime Minister Narendra Modi dedicated to the nation the historic Kosi Rail Mega Bridge through video conference on Friday, and also inaugurated 12 rail projects related to passenger facilities in Bihar, a new railway bridge on the Kiul River, 2 new railway lines and 5 electrification projects, 1 electric locomotive shed at Barauni, and the 3rd line project between Bakhtiarpur are some of them.
4 वर्ष पहले उत्तर और दक्षिण बिहार को जोड़ने वाले 2 महासेतु, एक पटना में और दूसरा मुंगेर में शुरू किए गए थे। इन दोनों रेल पुलों के चालू हो जाने से उत्तर बिहार और दक्षिण बिहार के बीच लोगों का आना जाना आसान हुआ है। खासकर उत्तर बिहार के क्षेत्र जो दशकों से विकास से वंचित थे, उन्हें विकास के लिए नई गति मिली है।
The Prime Minister also said in the last 6 years efforts are being made to shape Indian railways as per the aspirations of New India and expectations of Atmanirbhar Bharat. Vande Bharat, he said, is a symbol of modernity and self-reliance, and the Made in India trains are becoming a part of the rail network.
बिहार में रेल कनेक्टिविटी के क्षेत्र में नया इतिहास रचा गया है। कोसी महासेतु और किऊल ब्रिज के साथ ही बिहार में रेल यातायात, रेलवे के बिजलीकरण और रेलवे में मेक इन इंडिया को बढ़ावा देने, नए रोजगार पैदा करने वाले 1 दर्जन प्रोजेक्ट्स का आज लोकार्पण और शुभारंभ हुआ है। लगभग 3,000 करोड़ रुपए के इन प्रोजेक्ट से बिहार का रेल नेटवर्क तो सशक्त होगा ही, पश्चिम बंगाल और पूर्वी भारत की रेल कनेक्टिविटी भी मजबूत होगी।
Prime Minister Modi slammed the opposition for misleading farmers about the agrarian reform bills.
जो लोग दशकों तक देश में शासन करते रहे हैं, सत्ता में रहे हैं, देश पर राज किया है, वो लोग किसानों को इस विषय पर भ्रमित करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, किसानों से झूठ बोल रहे हैं। लेकिन ये लोग ये भूल रहे हैं कि देश का किसान कितना जागृत है। वो ये देख रहा है कि कुछ लोगों को, किसानों को मिल रहे नए अवसर उनको पसंद नहीं आ रहे हैं। देश का किसान ये देख रहा है कि वो कौन से लोग हैं जो बिचौलियों के साथ खड़े हैं। अब ये दुष्प्रचार किया जा रहा है कि सरकार के द्वारा किसानों को एमएसपी का लाभ नहीं दिया जाएगा। ये भी मनगढ़ंत बातें कही जा रही हैं कि किसानों से धान, गेहूं इत्यादि की खरीद सरकार द्वारा नहीं की जाएगी। ये सरासर झूठ है, गलत है, किसानों के साथ धोखा है।
Speaking on the connectivity of railways in the state, Prime Minister referred to a major earthquake that took place decades back and devastated Kosi and Mithila. He said that this project will connect Kosi and Mithila regions now.
लगभग 8.5 दशक पहले भूकंप की एक भीषण आपदा ने मिथिला और कोसी क्षेत्र को अलग थलग कर दिया था। आज ये संयोग ही है कि कोरोना जैसी वैश्विक महामारी के बीच इन दोनों अंचलों को आपस में जोड़ा जा रहा है।
Prime Minister Modi further added that these projects will be beneficial for both North and South Bihar and will give a boost to railway connectivity in Bihar.
4 वर्ष पहले उत्तर और दक्षिण बिहार को जोड़ने वाले 2 महासेतु, एक पटना में और दूसरा मुंगेर में शुरू किए गए थे। इन दोनों रेल पुलों के चालू हो जाने से उत्तर बिहार और दक्षिण बिहार के बीच लोगों का आना जाना आसान हुआ है। खासकर उत्तर बिहार के क्षेत्र जो दशकों से विकास से वंचित थे, उन्हें विकास के लिए नई गति मिली है।
On the passage of the Agriculture Reform Bill, the Prime Minister said that these bills have freed our farmers from many restrictions. They have been liberated. These reforms will provide more options and more opportunities for farmers to sell their produce.
कल विश्वकर्मा जयंती के दिन लोकसभा में ऐतिहासिक कृषि सुधार विधेयक पारित किए गए हैं। इन विधेयकों ने हमारे अन्नदाता किसानों को अनेक बंधनों से मुक्ति दिलाई है। किसान और ग्राहक के बीच जो बिचौलिए होते हैं, जो किसानों की कमाई का बड़ा हिस्सा खुद ले लेते हैं, उनसे बचाने के लिए विधेयक लाए जाने बहुत आवश्यक थे। ये विधेयक किसानों के लिए रक्षा कवच बनकर के आए हैं।
Lok Sabha on Thursday passed 2 bills for the agriculture sector. Union and B Minister Prakash Javadekar has said that the farmers stand in favor of Prime Minister Modi, as he has always done good for the farmers, and that farmers trust Prime Minister Modi. In a series of tweets, the Union Minister said that the farmers have got independence from being forced to go to the market and from farming on contract. Both bills aim to benefit farmers. The government has said that the market and MSP will remain intact. Slamming the Congress, he said, "Why is the Congress party being so dramatic? The Congress has forgotten its own manifesto. Look in the manifesto of 2019. These 2 promises were made, but now the Congress seems to be retracting from them." This is opportunism. Farmers of Haryana have welcomed the progressive legislation in favor of the farmers. Here is what they say.
कोई किसान कहीं जाके विरोध नहीं कर रहा, चंद लोग हैं जो इसका विरोध कर रहे हैं, चंद लोग हैं जो अपने राजनीति चमकाने के चक्कर के अंदर ये भोले वाले किसानों को बेवकूफ बनाने, और कुछ नहीं है जी। ये अध्यादेश 100% किसानों के साथ में है और मैं गारंटी देता हूँ ये अध्यादेश पूरी तरह लागू हो जाएगा। उस दिन आप देखना, ये तो मैं नहीं कह सकता एक दिन में किसान करोड़पति हो जाए, लेकिन समय आने के बाद समय के साथ साथ किसान भी एक बहुत बड़ी मजबूत स्थिति के अंदर होगा इस देश के अंदर।
अपना अनाज ले जाकर कहीं बेच सकता है और एमएसपी जो रेट होगा वो किसान को मंडी में जो है वो दिया जाएगा, उससे ऊपर जो होगा बढ़िया है किसानों के हित में। सबसे ज़्यादा ये लघु किसान जो है, छोटा किसान है, उसके हित में ज़्यादा है। कंपनियां आएंगी उधर अपना धंधा करेंगी, किसान को बढ़िया फायदा होगा।
And now news from the Parliament. On the fifth day of its proceedings during the monsoon session, the Rajya Sabha passed 4 important bills: the Indian Medicine Central Council Amendment Bill 2020 and the Homeopathy Central Council Amendment Bill 2020 was passed by the upper house by a voice vote.
जब भी स्वास्थ्य के संदर्भ में भारत का इतिहास सरकारों के कामों का लिखा जाएगा तो प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में जितने हेल्थ के रिफॉर्म्स देश में हुए हैं और उनको जितना इंटरनेशनल रिकॉग्निशन मिला है, इसको समय जो है हमेशा जो है इनको बहुत अच्छी तरीके से स्मरण करेगा।
Union Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan said that the government is committed to providing best quality health facility to all.
सरकार पूरी तरह से देश के हर नागरिक को उच्च कोटि की स्वास्थ्य सुविधा, सारे सिस्टम्स ऑफ मेडिसिन उसके लिए सुलभ ढंग से उपलब्ध हों, इसके लिए प्रतिबद्ध है। इसी के लिए आयुष्मान योजना है, इसी के लिए 1.5 लाख जो हेल्थ एंड वेलनेस सेंटर्स हैं, जहां पर आयुष के भी हेल्थ एंड वेलनेस सेंटर्स हैं, इन सब चीज़ों का प्रावधान है। इसी के लिए आने वाले समय में नेशनल डिजिटल हेल्थ मिशन है।
Rajya Sabha also passed the Salaries and Allowances of Ministers Amendment Bill 2020 and Salary Allowances and Pensions of Members of Parliament Amendment Bill 2020 by voice vote. After this, the upper house was adjourned till 9 a.m. of September 19th. Rajya Sabha proceedings were on Friday adjourned for 30 minutes till 9:35 a.m. as a mark of respect to sitting member Ashok Gasti and former nominated member Kapila Vatsyayanan who passed away recently. Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu read out the obituary references for Gasti as well for Vatsyayan. Gasti, who represented Karnataka, was a first-time Rajya Sabha member. He had taken oath on June 26 this year and could not even participate in the proceedings of the House. Gasti passed away on September 17th at the age of 55, while Vatsyayan, who served the House twice, died on September 16th at the age of 91. Members stood in silence after the obituary references were read out. Well, BJP President J.P. Nadda released the Kamal Sandesh Special Edition, Architect of New India, to mark the 70th birthday of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Speaking on the occasion, Nadda said that political culture has changed under the dynamic leadership of Narendra Modi. He said that Prime Minister Modi has worked to empower poor and downtrodden and bring them in the mainstream of society.
The political culture has changed under the dynamic leadership of Narendra Modi. वोट बैंक की राजनीति होती थी, लेकिन प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी ने राजनीति की संस्कृति बदल दी। सेवा की संस्कृति, जनता के लिए समर्पण की संस्कृति और समाज में जो पिछड़े, दलित, हमारे वंचित, शोषित, पीड़ित, जो समाज के अंतिम पायदान पर खड़े हैं, उनको ताकत देने की, उनको एम्पावर करने की, उनको सशक्तिकरण करते हुए उनको मुख्य धारा में लाने का काम नरेंद्र मोदी जी की सरकार ने किया है।
And now COVID-19 updates from across the country. India has been registering very high recoveries for 3 consecutive days. A record of 87,472 people were cured in the last 24 hours. Spurred by this number of very high recoveries, the national recovery rate continues rising its curve follow its rising curve. It stands at 78.86% today. More than 41 lakh people have defeated the novel coronavirus. With this, the fatality rate also dropped to 1.62%. According to Health Ministry, around 60% of the active cases are concentrated in only 5 most affected states. There are 13 states and UTs that even today have less than 5,000 active cases. According to the ICMR, the total number of samples tested so far has reached over 10 lakh samples were tested on Thursday. Looking at the progressive efforts by the Centre to fight COVID-19, the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare has assured that the Centre is proactively supporting high caseload states and UTs. Several central teams deputed for providing support. Capacities of ICU doctors built up through teleconsultation by AIIMS. Active steps are being taken to ensure adequate medical oxygen in the health facilities. Around 60% of the active cases are concentrated in only 5 most affected states. There are 13 states and UTs that even today have less than 5,000 active cases. And let's take a look at the updates on COVID-19 from across the world. The overall number of global coronavirus cases has surpassed the 3 crore mark, recording over 3.03 crore cases, while the deaths have increased to over 9.5 lakh worldwide. As many as 2.2 crore people have recovered from the virus so far. The United States continues to top the list, being the worst hit country by the pandemic so far, with the highest number of COVID-19 cases. The US has recorded over 68.74 lakh cases of COVID-19, with deaths now crossing 2 lakh. In terms of deaths, Brazil stands second on the tally with 1.35 lakh. There are 44.57 lakh cases of COVID-19 in Brazil. US Food and Drug Administration has given emergency use authorization to a portable PCR COVID-19 test kit of a medical equipment startup by Wisby Medical in Silicon Valley. PCR, or polymerase chain reaction, rapidly replicates the DNA or RNA and is considered an accurate diagnostic tool used in labs for infectious diseases. Traditionally, PCR testing uses a machine the size of a microwave and can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. A sample taken via a nasal swab is inserted into the kit and produces results in 30 minutes. The company said the goal is to eventually get the test kit sold to consumers to use at home. In a bid to ramp up testing, US is planning to conduct 100 million tests per month by the end of the year. US manufacturers are increasing production of affordable, fast COVID-19 tests, but experts are warning of their accuracy. More than half a dozen so-called antigen tests will likely be authorized by the end of October. US regulators in recent months have authorized antigen tests from Abbott Laboratories, Becton Dickinson and Company, and Quidel Corp and Lumiredix. Large-scale trials of Sputnik V vaccine, known as Phase 3 trials, are ongoing in Russia. They have about 40,000 participants. Initial results are expected in October or November, according to the Russian Direct Investment Fund. The vaccination is administered in 2 stages, with volunteers receiving 2 shots over 21 days. Pending approval from domestic regulators, such trials may also be conducted in India together with private pharmaceutical firm Dr. Reddy's and Brazil's Bahia state. Waving signs, banging drums and talking to the main streets of Buenos Aires on Thursday, Argentine protesters sought to draw attention to the labor, housing and other difficulties their nation is facing. The protesters were made up of trade unions and regular people who are in precarious position as the economy plummets amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Argentina, already in recession since 2018, is headed for a steep 12% economic contraction this year. The pandemic has pushed up poverty levels and unemployment and forced more people from their homes. There are about 3.6 million Argentine families impacted by homelessness. The country, which has been trying to open its hard-hit economy, stands 10th in the world tally with more than 6.01 lakh confirmed coronavirus cases and over 12,000 fatalities. Well, talking about sports, India's Rohan Bopanna and Canadian Denis Shapovalov stunned top seeds Juan Sebastian Cabal and Robert Farah of Colombia in a hard-fought second-round encounter to enter the men's doubles quarterfinals of the Italian Open tennis tournament. The unseeded Indo-Canadian pair defeated their fancied rivals 6-3, 3-6, 10-5 in a round of 16. Bopanna and Shapovalov will now face French combination of Jeremy Chardy and Fabrice Martin. Canadian tennis star Denis Shapovalov won his second round of clay court tournament against Spain's Pedro Martinez in a straight set 6-4, 6-4 on Thursday in the men's singles category. In another match, his fellow Canadian Milos Raonic suffered a second round loss. He lost 7-6, 4-6, 6-2 to world number 25. Dusan Lajovic of Serbia is the first clay court tournament for men since tennis resumed after COVID-19 suspension last month. Recently crowned US Open champion Naomi Osaka has withdrawn from the French Open in another serious blow to organizers of the tournament in Paris. Osaka, who claimed her third Grand Slam title in New York last week, is struggling with a hamstring injury and joins world number 1 Ashleigh Barty in pulling out of the competition at Roland Garros. The French Open is scheduled to go ahead starting on 27th of September despite high numbers of COVID-19 cases reported in the country. The pandemic had already forced the event to be delayed from its original slot in the tennis calendar in May and June. It's been a long wait for players and fans alike for this year's Indian Premier League season to begin. Moved out of India due to coronavirus pandemic, the matches will be held in three venues in UAE. A bio-bubble, strict social distancing protocol and quarantine requirements are in place to ensure the league can go ahead safely. Defending champions Mumbai Indians will face Chennai Super Kings in the opening game of the IPL. There will be no gala ceremony for the world's richest 2020 league, and the games will be played behind closed doors. The tournament has already been under scrutiny after 2 Chennai players tested positive for the virus. Several top players pulled out of the build-up, mostly citing personal reasons. World War II veteran Captain Thomas Moore has become a national hero for a fundraising campaign that involved walking the length of his garden 100 times, turning himself into a symbol of hope as Britain struggles to contain the COVID-19 pandemic. He is 100 now and has raised nearly $51.5 million for Britain's health services and has been knighted by the Queen. But for Captain Moore, the achievements of 2020 aren't over. He has written an autobiography and plans to do more charity work further. Warner Bros. Has announced that the filming on its much anticipated DC superhit movie The Batman has resumed after being shut down for over 2 weeks. The production on the Matt Reeves directed film was halted on 3rd of September after lead actor Robert Pattinson tested positive for COVID-19. And that's it in this newscast. Thanks for watching. Namaskar.